Ladies and gents, good evening. Welcome to Question Time Live, episode 124. My goodness. Wow, you've been pretty busy already. I can see getting your questions loaded in. I like that. I do like that. So as you will see, I'm at the I'm not at the studio tonight. I've been balls deep in Golden Corn all afternoon, and it's really. It kicked on. I got back. I was absolutely soaked, head to toe, feet, the job lot. I thought, fuck it, I can't. So here I am anyway. And it's cold in there, isn't it? That's the last thing I wanted. I'm scrambling as well, to be fair. I've got a lot to do tonight. I've got a lot to organise. So I probably should just have a quick minute as well. Golden Corn thing's been absolutely insane today, I must say. Wow, just been still had a few on the WhatsApp group. Got a crazy prize competition running on that as well. We're going to share a bit more of that with you. As ever, any links you need, I've made sure as well they're in the description. Got a big announcement as well tonight. I've got a new member of the team to share with you. Who's going to be a very public one. You're going to be seeing a lot of, and yeah, the brain power, let's say, or the talent behind this amazing tech platform that we're building. So yeah, I'm going to bring him on in a little bit. And being a koi keeper, fellow koi keeper as well, he's actually got a few questions lined up for a topical discussion, which is going to be quite cool. Other than that, big news. I can see it coming in the question. I'm gonna ping the picture over now. We should start with this for sure. So today I got the updates. My beloved parent fish, Miss Toyota, she has been harvested. She is safe. She is a whopping 85 centimeters at what technically now 4.5 years old. How mental is that? She's body volume. My God, she has really beefed up as well, which is amazing to see. I'm just going to ping this over to my computer if it'll work. Oh, here we go. Typical, eh? No, it's not going to work. So I got my Wi-Fi turned off. I'll do it another way around. But yeah, amazing. Absolutely amazing, that one. So while I'm waffling away and faffing around, please feel free to fire in some more questions. Obviously, I'll do my best to get through them. I'll tell you what I can do without losing my connection here. Let me send it to myself. If I can figure out how to do that as well. No, I don't want to take a new picture. I'm guessing a lot of you on the WhatsApp group will have seen her already, but it's just ridiculous. I'll send that video as well because that's worth looking at. Yeah, so far harvest time has been joyful. So quite a lot of fish I've got have been longer term projects, parent fish candidates, which I can obviously talk more openly about now. And start to see them come together very, very well, which I'm overjoyed with. Right, bear with me 1 second. There we go. Yeah, absolutely. I've got NND Sankey that I got yesterday. I think that was. They're coming thick and fast at the minute. Absolutely awesome. Why is my comments not? Oh, there we go. Right. Let's have a look here. Just got to get it onto your screen now, haven't I? Here we go. We're close. We're close. If I flick it to that view, boom. Now, excuse the shitty vat they've put her in, but boom, boom, boom is the word for that. 85 centimeters for this. This is where this gets a bit thingy, right? Because in regards to like sumi development, the type of Dainichi sumi this fish has, it's not it's a long term, right? 4.5 years old is nothing for the sumi on it. It's absolutely nothing. We are talking 6 at least, 7 getting on for 8 years old for that to be hitting its pinnacle. I'll tell you one thing that has changed a lot. The sash is refined and keyway even more this summer, which is amazing. So yeah, Sumiwa. But when you're looking at that, and I mean, you're 85 centimeters with all that mass. You're obviously in your head relating, I think, to a fish that is so much older as well. So just so exciting still. I mean, look at that body conformation. It's just an absolute dream. So yeah, joy to see that this morning. Our averages, obviously, yes, they're dropping off now. I can't say the raising technique will be the same. She's been in a phenomenal pond. I'm hoping, I'd like to think next year she is, if she doesn't hit it, she's going to be very close to it. If it were me now, I know there'd be the option there for it to be kind of grown a little bit over winter as well, but that can have a bit of a conflict in the way she needs to be prepared for spawning next year again. So in that case, if that was the case and she had a bit on winter as well, 100% she'd be hitting 90 with even more volume next year. And where she could end up with that body form, who actually knows? So get in. What a fish. So yeah, amazing stuff. Right, let's get rid of that one. Oh, got rid of myself as well. Right. So I suppose I'm going to run through a few questions and then I'm going to introduce my guest to you all and we'll get on with that discussion. But I'll do a few of yours first and then what I need. In fact, let's do it now and we'll do it at the end. I'm going to show you the fish I have got for the prize comp because this is just another epic piece. Let's see if I've got the plainer picture. Oh, so many good fish. It's crazy. No, all right, let's go with that one. Save a bit of time. Back to that one. Look at that. So this is one I've been raising up, done exceptionally well. Kind of in spring, I thought, oh my days, the Benny already is so well formed on it. In the traditional Taki Asagi style, where it's got kind of like the white break between the Amime and the Benny on the bottom. So well balanced, still improving as well. Great size. So I'm doing this one as one of our prize competitions. There is a link in the description on YouTube. You need to be on YouTube to get that link, or in the WhatsApp group. Tenner ago, and you've got a chance of winning that. It's insane. I'm going to continue growing it to the end of March as well. I'm very confident. In fact, I don't normally get this far out. 65 cm is where I'm pinning that one. I'm not even going to say it could be a bit bigger, but 65, I don't even think I'm going to break a sweat getting that to that point, given the pond I've got it in now as well. Yeah, mental fish. So I might be able to get the video on to share that. But anyway, link in the description on that one if you want to go. But what a piece. A Mime forming on it stunningly. Look, such a clean head as well. Obviously, it's backed by them golden corn genetics, so it's just kind of grow, baby, grow. It's ridiculous. Great mouth on it as well. Look, absolute peach. Cannot beat a good Asagi. Right, let's see what we've got going on here. I'll start from top again. Hi, Ricky. Unfortunately, I won't be able to watch the live tonight, although Emma will be. Evening, Emma. So no swearing, not a chance. I think I've already failed on that on several accounts already. I'm sure it'd be another fantastic broadcast. I'll make sure to post a question. All right, Mickey, what we got? You've shared some absolutely stunning koi over the last few days. Your Miss Toyota show, the female show, impressive NND Sankey. Could you share a bit more detail about them all? Crikey. Maybe not them all, Mickey. I've only got 50 minutes left. Yeah, I mean, it's what is it? You've seen Miss Toyota. In the background, obviously, it was once described to me, and Marihiro picked it up with me. He says, you like the Tatigoi business, don't you? And that is just about me, I think, summed up with this that I do. So I don't look at every fish as a stock item at times. You see a lot of these fish that I've invested in now, like with Miss Toyota, that investment was 2 years, 3 years prior to it becoming anything, because for a long time I've had the vision in my head of what I wanted to do. And whether or not it came off at the right time was another story. But the fact is, to be going out and buying fish like Miss Toyota is now, Dainichi, 85 centimeter with that level of quality, just breeders, a lot of breeders themselves don't do it. They end up with something like that that's got a deformity here or there because otherwise they can't afford it. That's a fish, she's tens of thousands of pounds worth of fish. You don't just go out buying them. But I put my skill set to use, and I would deem that skill set to be, and it's highly refined over 2+ decades now, of finding potential in Tosai, Nisai, fish that can really go the distance, not necessarily always show fish, but fish that become very high quality, bigger fish. There is a difference. There is a difference because a certain different pattern element kicks in when it comes to showfish. I wouldn't deem Miss Toyota to be a showfish. She's a highly technical fish that I knew, or I thought, would really go the distance. Obviously, yeah, not lacking in pattern, but not exciting enough to compete in Japan at that level, I don't believe. So that's what happens. And then, it's for me, I don't want to be restricted in what I'm buying, because it's not necessarily fish you can always sell, and we don't, because of the value. But I like to also test my eye. When I'm learning about breeders or getting involved, I'm going to load this Sankey up in a minute. For me, it's about being hands-on, seeing and putting my money where my mouth is with stuff. And it's what I like to do. It's a test for me as well at different farms, see how fish do. But more in recent years, it's been about amassing this collection of fish that could be as show fish. Some have become such high-end pieces. It's going to present a new challenge in actually finding buyers to sell for their true value. But in that Tatigoi business, as Marihiro called it, it is interesting because, yes, it is a case of I'm looking for them Tosai, Nisai that can become those, more valuable fish to sell in future as well. When they do come off, there is another challenge, like I say, in finding the right buyers. And when they do come off as well, this business is risky because it is still that numbers game. It's why you obviously see me buying so many most of the time, because the reality is, for every one that turns out a world, and I've got to say, this year's right now, I think I must be getting to the height of them powers a little bit, because the results across the board have sort of been pretty epic. But that prior, and there is always something. One year, last year, it was out of guarantee period. I had a golden corn at Taniguchi that I was some figures invested in it. Let me tell you, absolute thousands of pounds. And that was just a write-off. So that's gone. He lost it out of warranty. That was that. I don't go pecking at a breeder to try and correct it, give him the puppy dog eyes. That is what it is. It was my choice. So obviously it's that balancing act, the same as what I do when I'm bringing Tosai over here. So when you got your wins, you've got to make sure you try and win as well as you can as well. So I'm not sure if that's the angle Mickey was coming at from that. But that being said, let me share this with you. This is one that was an NND event 2 years ago now. And obviously, you've probably gathered I'm a bit of a fan of an NND fish, especially in Marusho Sankey. And I had no competition at the event for this either, none whatsoever. And it's really, again, overlooked. I mean, that I've not had the exact size yet. She's over 70 now, again, 3.5 years old. I mean, just look at that. It just epitomizes kind of how I choose fish. Long-term project as well. I think we're 2 more years before that really starts to come to fruition. Given the genetics, I think given that body, there's a fish there that can become 85, maybe 90. Marusho Sankey can do it. You've got to get the right body type, and how that's set, if it all keeps going well, then yeah, fingers crossed. but dreamy stuff. And I just love doing that. You know, I'm in the game. I'm all in, and it's important to be. I think that's the biggest thing that maybe sets me apart from a lot of others. I am very much a practitioner. You know, every day, generally got my hands in water, doing it. You know, I'm not just buying and selling and moving fish from one place to another. You know, more often than not, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm doing it. I'm showing the results. And obviously, from all that, all along the scale that it's done, still, there's just so much learning every year. So, yeah, there we go. Shared that one. Shared Miss Toyota. I'll not waffle on with any more of them right now. But I don't know if that answers your questions, Mickey. But there we go. Craig, good evening. Well, looks like a good question. Ricky, is the variety you wasn't keen on but ended up falling in love with before having my pond? I was keen on Showa, preferred Sankey. Now I have pond. I have no Sankey but 5 Showa. Fair enough. Interestingly, Craig, there's nothing I can recall as being a variety that I'm not into. I think I've always just been so incredibly passionate, and probably I would say, obviously, I'm lucky that I've had so much exposure in Japan that across most varieties, I've seen them at their best, even if I've not bought them at their best because they've just been unattainable. So, and I think when you're on that basis, I think Satch said it today, to be fair, with the Asagi in the prize draw, not normally a fan, but one of that quality, you can't ignore it. And I think, unfortunately, for a lot of you guys who don't get to see all that, it can really be the case. You know, Shisui is another one that a lot of people don't love, but some of the Shisui I've seen and shown people have absolutely converted them, which is cool. So I think that's what it boils down to. But for me personally, I've always kind of been, when it's a good example, I'm into it. I appreciate koi, I think, in so many different ways, as well as longer term tatigoi, as showfish, uh, as appreciating often for qualities that might be overlooked. You know, so you might see me getting excited about something because I'm just appreciating the quality. It might have a bit of a shit pattern, but you're in awe of the quality a little bit. Whereas, you know, it can be the other way around for a lot of people where you don't generally get past the pattern to that. So I think there's quite a broad range in there. But no, I'm going to say that I'm not easily pleased, Craig, but I've just got a mass love for it, and you kind of find a way to appreciate most things. I think it's even this, you know, corn. It's another one. If you don't love them for what they are, I think there's still an element in there, and it's something I've always tried to get across, is that I've got a mass admiration for what he's actually created as well, knowing how challenging and difficult it was and the work that's gone in to produce a Kawari Goi that's so, you know, made a random characteristic more stable, and at the same time got these things to produce mass size with a phenomenal body line. You just got to take your hat off to it. So, and that's kind of how I look at most fish. Yes, absolutely, Chris. Oscar, evening. My homebred Chago from this year's spawn just clocked in at 32 cm as of yesterday. Nice one. Should I keep the pace during winter? Is there a point in slowing down? If it's homebred this year, buddy, no issues in keeping going with that one through to next year. So yeah, go for it. Well done. Who is the breeder who breeds quality but tends to be a year behind on growth, mentioned in a Koi talk? Oh God, Johnny, you've got me there, mate. I'm gonna first one that's come to mind when you said it was Kansuke, possibly, because it's just another one that I know there's more size in his bloodline than what comes out in his fish, but I also know how he raises his fish as well. Come to think of it, when I get there, I've got 3, I think 3, 4 epic pieces there. But yeah, they're always just lagging behind that little bit, and I think it is mainly because of the way they're raised. But it's a slower process of getting them through. The size comes, but it comes a lot slower. But I think there could be a lot more in them. Hello, USA again. Phil, how you doing, pal? Eric, if you were to have a 1,500 litre grow on, I need to flip that to gallons. Hang on a minute. Hang on. Right, we're around about 300 odd gallons then. How many koi and what size would you grow them in? Trying to use your simple self philosophy? Yeah, sorry. Reason I laughed then, George, is you probably wouldn't want to do what I do with 300 gallons, mate. So let's move on from that, and I'll tell you what I think you should possibly do. The point here is obviously how I work is I start with a higher number and then work down and refine down and move fish away. So if you take the golden corn I've done today, I mean, we started off with 600 in there at, what was it, 12 to 15 centimeters. And as of today, I'm down to 30 at 40 to 46 centimeters, you see. So that's been a continuous process all year. And it's tricky because one of the best ways is to kind of start like that if you can, because if you went with, say, I mean, at that kind of level, getting to where you are, you might want to look at, say, 10 fish for the long run with that. But starting out with just 10 smaller ones, you might find that the behavior, they become far too scatty when it comes to feeding, which is a problem for you because you want to get enough food down them. You want the confidence there. So, yeah, I would say, if you went with sort of like 10 pieces on a simple setup, you'll do well there and probably have the capacity to grow them through to a nice size. I'd just bear that in mind around the feeding if you're just starting out with that number. Other than your breeding program that you have set about this season, what else is currently driving you in the koi industry? You get some good ones tonight, folks. What is driving me? This is going to lead so perfectly into introducing my guest in a minute. But what's driving me? The breeding stuff is driving me still massively. I think it's just, for me, it is this next massive challenge probably for the next 2 decades of my life, my koi career, if you like, because having done so much already, I'm still massively into what I'm doing. But it's just that next step to be able to have the ultimate quality. I think this ties into, I can't remember when I touched upon this, because of the way the whole buying scene's going right now, and all the rest of it. It's just not, I don't want to be in it. It has zero appeal to me right now, being in fish houses, scrapping to make a box of fish up. It's not, Metatagoi stuff I do in selecting these fish that you start seeing coming through. I absolutely love. They're not fish often you have to fight for. It's about finding something generally that is missed or kind of overlooked a bit in an auction. So that bit, yeah, massively. But no, the breeding is just one. And then I would say that the two other sides to it is the business side of it, is wanting to bring forward this technology side that we're working on to create an experience for buying fish that I don't think has ever been done. It's just going to be so slick, and I think, yeah, amazing in that respect. And then I forgot what the next point was going to be. There we go. That's it. Is getting back with the knowledge stuff. I'm still massively driven. I'm massively driven. It motivates the fuck out of me. Is correcting misinformation. And providing and teaching. It's a massive part, and that's why ever since, again, and I'll keep talking about making huge progress on it, is koi talk, is why it's not just been written off, because the whole thing doesn't make sense in regards to where I'm at and what I've got going on if we look at anything financially and stuff like that. But it means a lot to me personally as a platform out there for you guys to learn and be educated with quality information. So I think that's all the bits generally that are pushing me along big time at the minute. So nice question, Satch. And on that note, I'm going to park it. Let's see what we got, because these aren't any questions. Gets me a bit further down. I'm going to introduce my guest. So this has been a long, we're not going to get too much into any technicals because obviously I'm not letting much go at the moment, other than that we are close to getting V1 out there in the world. But this has been, you don't even know, this has been a huge, I reckon, for maybe 14, 15 years. I've had it in my head, certain things I wanted to do with bringing technology into this world. Koi Talk was actually the first iteration of that. Before I started with the magazine, I actually had a fully digital version of Koi Talk, but it was a great website. It was fucking hard work, and just it never took off. And I parked it at that point and came up with the magazine format. So, and then just partnerships. It's a tough old thing because that side of the industry, that world, tech world, it is very, very expensive to be able to build out bespoke experiences. And like I say, I've tried a lot of stuff over the years, and it's never quite come off. But I'm very confident this time with what's done, where I'm at with this particular person who's going to be very invested in the business with me. I think it's going to be quite cool, and you're going to be seeing a lot of him, hopefully across Koi Talk, as well as we not only just for Koi Online and my Koi selling brands for the magazine, and actually creating that not into just a physical but a digital platform as well. So I'd like to introduce you, I'll get him in now, make sure it works, to Dan Yule-Jones. How are you doing, Dan?
Hey, doing good.
So Dan's been in the groups and everything for quite a while, and he's right now the man behind building all this up, and a guy I think you're going to be seeing a lot of, hopefully. Dan, it's the plan, isn't it?
That does seem to be the way. It's getting more and more hectic by the looks of things as we go on.
It is. We're having fun with it, aren't we? So why don't you just tell people a little bit about you? Because obviously you're another Koi nut in amongst the team as well.
Yeah, so my journey was quite a recent one. It's a weird story. I went over to a place near me to get some koi for my brother at the end of last year. Never having bought koi before, and he was like, "Oh, I've built this big pond. I'd love some koi to go in there to fill it up." And sort of throughout all the years, I've always loved the idea of koi, but never really put much thought into it.
Yeah.
Went over and then just kind of fell in love with it. The moment I sort of stepped into that koi shop, I was just like, this is awesome. I just want to build a pond. And I literally set out that winter. It was last October. So this time last October, I was out digging, building a pond. Been running it now for a year, and it's great. I just absolutely love it. It's just the nicest thing.
Very relatable for so many, mate.
100%. But yeah, it's just, there's something just relaxing about it. It's just nice. I just love toddling around on it. But I like a lot of the technical side of it, all of the filtration and all that side of stuff as well. That's kind of it.
Nice. Well, we've had some good chats, haven't we? So I'm looking forward to seeing. I think the dynamic we can maybe make for some of the Koi Talk stuff moving forwards will be quite cool. And you're not camera shy, which is quite helpful.
It's rare in a developer, I'll give you that.
It is. Yeah, so obviously just give us a bit of your background as a developer, Dan, because obviously that's the main reason that you've come on board the team. But obviously I'm going to be cluing you up on quite a bit of the Koi stuff as well.
100%. So I ran a business from when I was about 18 years old. I started doing consultancy, doing web stuff and mobile apps. Then I built a business with my brother. We ran that for about 5 or 6 years, which was a fitness mobile app. That was quite cool. It sort of generated workout plans and all that sort of stuff. It was really quite involved. Learned a lot from doing that. That was really learning on the job, building that every day for years. Then I joined an agency quite a few years ago. Got experience on lots and lots of stuff. And then for the last 4 years, I've been running my own agency with our own team, building some really big projects for clients all over the world. Big websites, big mobile apps, big complex things.
Amazing. Good. So, and now you've got a very, very new journey ahead of you, mate.
It's exciting. I can't wait.
We've already got, we are a good way through now, aren't we? It's looking mega behind the scenes, but I really can't wait till we get to that day when everyone can have a look.
I don't want to say too much, but the stuff that we've got going on is awesome, and I think it's going to be game changing.
I think so, mate. So let's wait and see. Time will tell. But while you are here and the koi keeper side, and I think where this is going to work well, there's a particular topic that's been flagging up quite a bit recently, hasn't there? I think because of the time of year we're at around fish ages.
Yeah, I think with the harvest season and everything like that, there's a lot of confusion around sort of Tosai, Nisai, Sansai, like where that sort of falls in line with how we look at ages over here.
Yes.
So, I mean, obviously, you know more than anyone that the system over there is sort of done in it's years, isn't it? So it's sort of done from is it the first of the year as a new.
It's the system out there is absolutely bonkers, as most things are in Japan. So this is an issue, and recently I have moved to, and I'm going to get you a literal translation here in a minute. I've moved to doing it in months. Because I think this is so. We've got two sides to this right now. Obviously, there comes a point, and there is no hard line in this other than what happens in Japan, which obviously dictates a lot. So Tosai, right? Tosai. The translation of Tosai is this year's fish.
Very vague.
Basically meaning it's a koi in its first year of life, so under 1 year.
Yeah.
So now that obviously makes sense in regards to that bit. But then comes this horribly tricky, nasty period whereby technically, so a lot of the spawning primarily is done April to May, but spawning can carry on right through to August.
Yep.
In that year, generally it's the cutoff. You're getting risky after it. So we've got this first year. So technically, right now I have Tosai, new fresh season, this year's fish swimming around at the facility. There is a lot of fish in the market where stuff might not be updated, or they don't want to make that switch to saying that this is now technically Nisai by how the Japanese system works.
Yep.
So technically, I mean, you would have been, so that first year, let's just take something spawned in May. So May last year, it was spawned. By May of this year, technically, or by May, June, that's no longer Tosai. But it is still, if we look at it in how humans assess age, it's still a year old, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's not technically 2-year-old until it hits 24 months old. But then in Japan, all of a sudden by October, that fish that's a year and a half old, roughly around 18 months, 17, 18 months, is literally in Japanese properly Nisai.
Yeah.
Because this is the Japanese use 1-year-old is Isai. That's another nice one. Isai, Nisai. Good fun. Yeah.
I think it makes it a lot easier for us to understand working in the months and years. It's a simpler system, and it's a lot more transparent as well, I think, knowing exactly what age that fish is. Because I think there's a bit of a conversation to be had around about sort of how much age or Tosai and Nisai affects sort of growth as well. Because I think there's quite a big area there where everyone's chasing after sort of these supersized Tosai or supersized Nisai, and it's not always necessarily the case that that's going to be the biggest or the best fish, if I'm right. I think I've heard some people say that they can like burn out early or something like that.
I feel like I've been talking about that somewhere not very long ago. But just to kind of finish on that, so to lead into that, we've ultimately then got, so if you just take it by the Japanese system, all of a sudden everything that's being Tosai in the market, it gets to October, and in line with them, you start calling it Nisai. Now, the problem in that comes is I've got if I follow that system, I've got Sakai fish I've just been selling that technically now fall into that bracket of Nisai. Size range is roughly around 30 to 35 cm on average, which to hear that as Sakai and Nisai, I think there's a lot of people going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because that's just not how it is. Now, you have to understand that most of those fish were actually an August spawning in the previous year. So not only were they an August spawning, they were sold later on. And then when they were sold, obviously I got them in my season quite a bit later. So hence, as they've been going out, I have been quoting them in months because I think it's important to understand how young they still are. And yeah, in relation to your question there with the jumbo Tosai, you are right. I mean, these things do burn out. You know, I've actually seen it this year with another two phenomenal fish. I believe two of the best shower at NND. If I listen to what Fujo was telling me, particularly with mine, but the other thing, there's some of the best shower in the past 7 years that they've had. Yeah. So one of them was a 45 centimeter. In fact, if I say one, I think they were both around that. I know mine was a 45 centimeter Tosai when I bought it.
Wow.
Beast. And it hit 63 cm as Nisai last year. Now it has gone on. Mine's hit 70 as Sansai this year. It's just crazy. The other one has plateaued a bit. So I think with the body type mine has, and this is again will feed into all this, the body type mine has, it's an outlier. The structure of the fish from its face to the rest of its body, it's not typical of the bone structure of NND shower. And that incredible size is shown because my expectation of NND at 3 years old is 65 centimeter at Sansai. And that'll generally, you'll see a size map of how they'll go with that. But what can happen is a bit smaller Tosai you can find can have a growth spurt over 2 seasons, whereas a bigger Tosai might put less on per annum and just spend more time stacking on volume.
Yeah.
So the second fish I speak of has actually just fell back in line. It was an exceptionally big Tosai, even back to the December when I acquired it for the client, but now it's plateaued and it's just back in line with the other fish, 65 cm at Sansai.
So can it go the other way then? So if one's smaller at Tosai, can it catch up?
100%. Seen it so many times, and it might not be because ultimately what this is racing towards, right? So I believe the fish I have there is an outlier. It's going to be one that eventually would surpass the maximum size that these fish can attain. Oddly enough, a potentially great parent fish candidate, because that's typically the case. You know, if you want to improve size and you maintain the characteristics of your bloodline, you need to be looking for them outliers. So I think that one will push on above the averages. But yeah, in the case of this one, I think it's had big initial growth and fell back in line, and that can completely happen the other way as well. That, you know, you've got these smaller fish, so these Sakai fish I mentioned. There's absolutely no, yes, I will get them through to, the plan will be when Sakai raise these later fish indoors is generally how they do it over the summer. They hit around 45 to 50 centimeters, somewhere between that. Now, I know full well I will have those at that kind of size by, I think, around January, somewhere like that. January, Feb, they'll be way back in line with where they need to be. Now, the big thing here in regards to ultimate size is what is the limiting factor is always going to be the parent fish, and then the bloodline, and then the characteristics of the fish. So in the case of my NND shower, that's again the exception, because the characteristics are not the characteristics of a fish that can grow to 90. That's not too typical of NND shower. But the fish has the characteristics, and I believe it will. But in the case of these Sakai fish, we know most of those fish have the characteristics to grow huge. So if the fish has got it in its bone structure, it's going to get there in the end. If I keep them on the gas over the next couple of seasons, they'll get there with ease. It might just be that they're a year behind a fish that was raised intensively from the start. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's a good sign for us, because you don't always want to be buying a big Tosai, or you might be worried that you've got a smaller one, but knowing that the bloodline's there, you can always know that you can keep pushing it and getting it.
There's still a massive argument for whether it's technically the best way for the longer term quality. When Ikarashi Kazuto was alive, I mean, what a guy. He's just how he used to raise fish. But you walked in spring and saw his big fish, and you're just like, what have you done to them? There's no body weight, and you're just thinking, what the fuck? Bearing in mind, he had some of the best skin quality, even on aging fish. And he had quite a few different philosophies around male fish he used and stuff like that. But the big one, he didn't feed them fish a single bit from harvest in October, November through to release the following April. Nothing.
So it's really conditioning over that winter period.
Not only that, I mean, it's obviously, and there's arguments that this actually plays around with the hormones in the body as well, and obviously stimulates a mass need that the minute they get a chance to eat, they just go wild. And assessing the results of his fish then from April to October and how they just went boom, body growth, the whole lot. It was mental, but he had this amazing longevity in the skin, which will be partly genetics, obviously massively. But this element as well. So yeah, it's confusing. There's so much information people put out there, but again, I speak from very first-hand experience of most of this, that it's all doable.
If you were, well, obviously not if you were, when you are looking at Tosai, so obviously size must play a bit of a factor in it for you, but I guess you're mainly looking at body composition, body setup, sort of head size, all that sort of stuff, rather than necessarily the overall size of the fish then when you're looking for one that's going to grow big.
Never size directly. Because again, I can tune back. This is on the channel somewhere. I can go back to when the Sakai, the 1,050 pieces that I had, I actually documented this, that there was a proportion that to me had all the technical elements they needed, but in a competitive environment, they weren't quite keeping up. So in the end, what I did was I took those fish, I isolated them into a smaller pond on their own, raised them through, and at one point towards the end of it, they actually got reintroduced back with the other fish because they'd caught up.
Oh, wow.
It just needed slightly different conditions.
Just shows that it's...
One of those in that net went on to be an absolute worldie of a fish as well, you know, that was 65 cm Sanzai by the time I was done.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Really good proof. So it's a bit of a balance then. It's just knowing what to look for, really.
100%. But it's it's a complicated one. Let's say all the ages, stuff like that. So I think the big thing is don't pay too much attention to all that.
Yeah.
You know, when you're looking, especially if you're looking at a purchase, there's far bigger things to be paying attention to than all the bells and whistles around it. You know, still too many of them words. I see them cropping up. So I mean, isn't it amazing? I don't follow a lot of it. You might more, Dan. I don't know, but how, you know, there's so many like koi dealers that don't seem to exist on social media for 6 months, and then all of a sudden the autumn harvest appears and they're flooded everywhere, and you see all the words coming out the woodwork.
There's a lot of it at the moment. It's over the last, well, I mean, I've not been in the game that long, but from last year as well, it seems like there's even more this year. People YouTubing, going over for the harvests, and it is a lot of just speak about jumbo tosai, and these are the biggest tosai I've ever seen type thing. There's a lot of, I don't know what the word for it is, like a lot of overhyping maybe on things that might not be important. Yeah.
And that's I think, what I come back to what I said at the beginning, I am a practitioner. You know, see this stuff, and I speak from having done it, seen it, done it, you know, whatever it is, but it's just too easy to, you know, go 50 centimeter tosai. Wow. That is wow, you know, but is it the outlier? Is there something there that says, right, that's going to go beyond? Because if the genetic potential and the body characteristic kind of says 80 cm, that's it. Good luck pushing it over. Yeah.
It's kind of reached that. It's run most of its race already at that point.
100%.
Is there any downsides to bigger fish buying them at tosai? Can it be bad for the fish, do you think, or do you think that?
Yeah, I think there's arguments for the way in which they've been raised where it can be problematic longer term if that carries on, but it depends. So from mud pond, you know, tosai from mud pond to fish house to harvest, so that 18-month period, I say most, it's not the case actually, most professional breeders, bigger breeders, are raising them flat out at that point, and that's generally how you hit that 50 to 55 cm kind of average. Now Sakai seems to be hitting 60 for shits and giggles, which is just mental. But yeah, obviously there's a lot more of the Karashi blood and stuff being mixed in there, so it's to be expected. But I think the thing comes at that point, it's good to give them a bit of a rest. If they've had that intense period, they need to start feeling their first kind of winter or break, if you like. I think to go on for like a 2 or 3 year solid period of just food, and warm water, you're naturally just aging the fish, you're deteriorating the skin quality a little bit, and you're aging the fish, and it's not always a good look.
No. Good tips for anyone listening then.
I'm seeing in chat there with that one, so happy days. You got any more lined up then, mate?
I think that's the main bits for me around age.
Fair enough. I think it was a good topic to have. And now, well, we'll say the world, not everyone's in tonight, but got to know you, because everyone's going to be seeing a lot more of Dan, certainly in our WhatsApp groups. And then when the beastie thing that he's working on gets launched, I think I need to turn him into a koi selling machine, don't I, Dan?
We're going to be working on it, that's for sure.
Happy days. So I'll let you get off then, mate, because I think there's a stack of questions here. And yeah, I know you're off on holiday, aren't you? But after that, be back on camera, I think.
That'll be the plan. I'm excited for it. Excited to get some more content.
Happy days. Catch you soon, mate.
Cheers, bud.
So there we go. That's Dan. Exciting times. Very, very enthused by all that at the moment, I must say. And I think for the whole industry, it's going to create a bit of a monumental shift, because it's so it's seen as such a glamorous industry overall. With this really high-end product that sells for all this money. I think you tend to find when you actually pass through a lot of it, the breeders in Japan that benefit the most financially a lot of the time throughout that whole chain. And they do reinvest. It's amazing that's why you see, so many new varieties, fish houses coming up, all the rest of it. But yeah, this side, getting into this world generally, if you look at the UK industry overall, I don't believe there's really the money there to be truly investing in what bespoke tech takes to build. I think we're lucky that obviously there's been adaptations through WhatsApps. We've got now, Shopify's platforms like that these days has made it a lot better. And for people to do more, but still crafting the experience, certainly how we operate and what I do and how our admin load is ridiculous. The processes are very manual and quite laborious as well. So yeah, this is going to be a game changer for it. So exciting. Enough waffling of all that. You will start to see that unravel, which is going to be the best way. Right, back to your questions, ladies and gents. I hope you like that little discussion as well. I think the nice thing Dan's going to bring back in is that as a hobbyist as well, just a different viewpoint when we're having some of these discussions as well, because obviously early question time, we had a lot of people on, and actually there's a point. We should probably get back to it, guys. So if you are interested in coming on, it's not too scary. And having a chat, that's all it is, having a chat about a particular topic or anything. It would be amazing to get some of you actually on as well. More than happy to just drop me a DM somewhere, and we can schedule it up. It's very easy. You haven't even got to come on camera, to be fair. You could just do it with audio if you wanted to. So there we go. That is there if you'd like to get involved. Oh, sorry, Susan, that is about shipping fish. Yes, I will keep repeating. Plans in Japan will happen first, and other bits will come after in that respect. That's in relation to Miss Toyota. Yes, of course I am. Absolutely amazing. Hi, Ricky. Hear a lot about koi giving off hormones, stopping smaller koi growing in the same pond. Surely if that's the case, smaller koi give off hormones too. What's your thoughts on it? Yeah, I've never, the whole hormone thing. Obviously, you pick up bits, you hear bits. But I actually had one, the fun bit, Paul. Someone mentioned this the other day in relation to stocking or something. I can't remember what it was. And I'm sure I was prattling around in the Karashi Koi pond at the time. And I'm just like, clearly what you're saying there is bullshit, because look. So I'm not buying it with all that. I think the transference of hormones through water as well, a lot of it ends up getting blocked because of organic load in the water and stuff like that. Hence why when it comes to spawning, completely fresh water is used. So obviously the hormones that are released, the signals, and they can be received and actually transfer through the water properly. So yeah, I'm not putting a lot of weight on stuff like that. You've just got to look at different feeding behaviors to see a physical manual battle there when you get one group in a pond that's more dominant. Jason, not sure. They're scattered in different ponds, mate. But obviously, if it's a fish you've got with us, we're growing. They are being worked through our system at the minute. Updates are going out. There is a lot of them, so please bear with us. Hi, Ricky, what growth would you expect at 18? Steady is the word, because feeding wants to be steady, sort of like Saki balance. And yeah, over a period of winter, if you're keeping them around that, it will be nice and steady. You can maintain volume. You're not pushing for too much, but you will find, there'll probably be a centimetre, maybe up to sort of 3 cm growth over that winter period at that kind of temperature. Jason's got it. Look, hit that like button. Question: I'm treating for gill fluke, heated 20C. When should I put the second treatment in? At that kind of temperature, I think I would go at sort of 5 days, Susan, on that one. Afternoon from Texas. I included the location in case you decided to start shifting this direction. Crikey. Good fun, isn't it? Ricky, what's your ideal temp and duration for overwintering and a proper resting period? You hear different things. I'd like to stick at 13 to 15 for at least that way. Yeah, Nika, I've covered this one a lot. 13 to 15 for me, you're just wasting your time. I think sit at 12 and you'll find that, there's no difference from 12 to 13 to 15. Apart from, obviously, when you're in that slightly warmer water, you can tend to find that parasites, it can just favor some unfavorable stuff if you're not careful. So yeah, for me, 12, you'll also find you take them down to 8, you'll keep them really well, but you will just get that slight bit more activity, and biologically with your system be able to feed that little bit more than you would at 8 if that's what you're planning to do. If you wanted to care. And this is an interesting thing as well. It might also depend what you need to do. If you've had a real intense summer and you think you might need to thin the fish off a little bit, then you might want to leave it at 12 and cook the food so they'll actually burn a little bit more as well. Whereas if you say kept them at 8, you'll generally just kind of pause them in their tracks and maintain them really well coming through. Curious about your thought. I'd want to discuss that. I thought, oh yes, Nico, of course you collected your prize, didn't you? All the way from Holland. That was cool. Hats off, man. I know he was over here for other stuff as well, but I hope she's doing well. Sorry, that's internal chat. Has summer seemed to drop off? I seem to remember it being more. Oh, sorry, as the Sumi. Yeah, it's fell back a little bit, Darren, on Miss Toyota for sure. Completely normal for that to happen during that growth period. So I'm not panicked that this winter season now will find it absolutely fly back up. I have a 4-bay multi-bay filter as my only filter for a 1,200 gallon pond. What would you recommend for each bay for maximum mechanical and biological filtration? So I would start with brushes. First of all, then I would definitely get a fluid bed in there, possibly, depending on the size of the chambers, 1 to 2 chambers at that point. And then something, I think a typical good setup with that is some form of kind of matting in the next one that can act as a bit mechanical and biological. The spiral mat from Mountain Tree does seem to be very good. They're doing well. They've been through some this is the Miss Toyota offspring, very severe sleeping sickness. So they're on the food at the minute, but I'm seeing some nice change. The Benny's toned up, going more red as I expected. And it's really seeing some patterns emerge that, you really couldn't see. So I'm even more excited now to very soon be back to see the result of what's still in the mud pond. I really am. Hi, Ricky. From your experience with K1 Plus, do you think it's worth swapping for original K1? From what I've seen so far, Richard, I would say 100%. The media seems to behave completely differently. And I'm only saying that from what I can see of biofilm development, but I've got it mixed when I did the upgrade in the Nexus that I've got the two side by side at the minute, and how I know it's not always about the color of the media, but I can see such thicker biofilm on the new K Plus. Blown away so far. Plus the system I've got with the filter system I designed, that had K Plus starting from scratch, and the speed at which that whole pond's picked up has been amazing. So yeah, to be initially very, very pleased with what I'm seeing. What's your opinion on moving bed filter or backy shower? What is better? So again, in my philosophy, I will always have a moving bed. I think it's the core fundamental part of a system. And with what I've seen with K1, and I say K1 because what I've always used, the ecosystem it builds for me is amazing. I like to add backy showers as an additional extra to a system. It can help increase turnover if you need it. And it is just a nice way to get different bacteria groups working, and it can be a great addition for degassing. But I will always, if I had to choose one, I would always pick the moving bed over just the shower. Oh, Sam, brutal. Well, I mean, best for me is Sakai. I've got to say, I've seen a bit of something, which has got me excited for this next year, but it's got to be set that aside and what's generally more accessible. So I've had phenomenal results with the Marido ones this year. Phenomenal. Not always the best color. They're not a mango sort of strain of color. And then for me, second, I'm going to go with Saito because I mean they're built off of Marido. That whole bloodline is built off of Marido stuff. But he's created the color as well in the Ginrin and in the normal ones. And as I will again will demonstrate, because I've got two big ones of Ginrins I'm raising. They've got the color, they've got the body, they've got the size. They don't carry the likes of a Danichi price tag with the yellow monkey. I'm a huge yellow monkey fan, as you know. And they don't carry the Sakai price tag. So I'm not saying they are either or, but independently you go, hats off, that's a great job. So that's where I am with them ones. Evening. Foggy, how you doing? Hi, Ricky. With so many fish to choose from and so many different varieties, is there a definitive book that explains the differences and why? I don't think there is anything up to date, Foggy. To be honest, there's been a lot of change since. So no, I'm going to say no. Someone in the community might say more. It's not. I don't really keep up with all the books and stuff, but I think the internet's going to be your best resource. Yes, come on, let's have it. I think I kind of got the bands out of the way when I opened the food one a few weeks back with me rant. So let's call it football banter back on, because obviously it's looking like we're going to win the league this year. So go for it. Jonathan Tsai, with your growth rates and feeding, how are you managing KH levels? Buffering with bicarb very, very regularly, just trying to keep it in the kind of 4 to 6 range. I've been working harder on it this year, consistently keeping it at 6 a bit more, and seeing, general really better system performance come from it. It is an optimal number if it can be achieved. Interested to understand why there aren't more yellow combination of coloured koi other than Kyotsuri, multiple varieties of single coloured koi. With the yellow stuff, Ray, it's not hard. It's not easy to produce. It's been a tricky colour. Again, I say it, why my admiration for what Taniguchi's done with golden corn, because in amongst that, he actually created a very stable yellow colour that he's been able to transfer from corn to now Asagi. There's a lot of ways he could go having that base, but yeah, it's not an easy one, because keeping it a good yellow, there's been yellows that often turn orange. I see that quite a lot. Kijiro was produced, interestingly, and the Inland Revenue Center in Niigata actually produced Kijiro over a big number of years. the Deutz and Wagoi variant, but it didn't catch on. I don't think the patterns were hard to produce. And when they gave it to breeders, the reproduction there and the continuation was quite difficult. But I think obviously then the fact they've not been so well received kind of stopped it all dead. So maybe that was through lack of promotion. I would say it maybe didn't get the best, but also there wasn't really the volume and numbers of koi there to get any serious promotion behind it. On it again, look. Thank you very much, Satch. Evening, Ricky. Since returning to Saki Akari, my phosphates have dropped massively. Like you say, it's not just about growth. No, absolutely. There's so much more to all that stuff, always. Ian, hi, Ricky. I have a 2,500 gallon pond pump fed into a seater sieve into a multi-bay brush chamber, then Jack Martin, last moving bed, 100 litres K1. No. I mean, the thing is here, and I would always ask you, is it working all right? If everything's good, don't go faffing around with anything, mate, is where I'm at. If there is a genuine improvement you feel you need to make, then look into it. But if everything's fine, leave it the hell alone. Good evening. Pleasure, Simon. And it is Ricky, not Richard. Isn't slow growth better for quality? Yes, for longevity, but the industry shifted away from that a lot now. Plus, there is still the argument of what is, it's about extracting the most out of the potential. So, koi are capable of more now than they were before as well. So there is a balance here and understanding, again, what something is capable of, but pushing them absolute year in, year out, like I said, is never the best way. But there is an element of you don't want to go too slow as well, certainly if you're trying to hit them sizes. I made Asagi from you, now 36 months old, 63. Well done. You spawned it this year. Asagi trio produced thousands of eggs now, 10 cm plus, cooled down to about 200. She had 2 winters of heat. Penny coming out of 3. Yes, there we go, mate. Still such a young age as well. It really is. Oh, there we go. That's where we're at. Welcome, Dan. Yes, welcome, Dan. Lights, yes, the lights thing. I've had a few plays, and there's nothing there that's really impressed me so far, to be honest. Ricky, you have done group now. You've done group grow on now for NND, Danichi, Takano, Saka, etc. Would you have a target breeder you really want to have a large batch from that you have not managed to get yet? Oh, Pierre. Yes, there is. And well, I've got them. I've got what I wanted. It's still been a lot of work, a lot of months in the making. I think I've muttered it last time, but it's going to be a big one. It's coming soon. It's a variant of a breeder mentioned on there as well. But wowzers. It's going to be a fun grow on year, particularly one of the varieties I've got amongst it as well. Yes. Now, often it just take a bit of planning. There is another one I want to do. I don't know if we'll get it maybe in spring, a bit easier. But yeah, one of the big ones I've been working on has come off. Ricky, do you think we should give our fish a winter for, say, 2 months? Yeah, there's nothing wrong. As we say a winter, I mean, what is the definition of a winter? I think that's what truly needs to be looked at here. Is it just dropping that temperature down? What is it dropping it down to? You could just say a rest off the food. How cold do you want to go? There's an element where you're going to go too cold, you potentially risk cart pox flying out, your system, dropping off too much. Is it a stop feed? That's what some people consider as a winter, just a rest. It really depends on the circumstances, as I just discussed a little bit earlier, is what do the fish need? It's all right me giving you some generic, yes, you should do this. We've got to see what the fish need, because if you've got fish coming off the back of a shit summer, say there's been illness you've been fighting or something like that, they might want a bit more of a summer now, a growth period. So that needs to be considered and factored in. Looking like it's likely to be next week on that one. Again, been leaving it fluid because of everything that's been going on here. But yes, time to go and harvest the Miss Toyota Tatigoi, see where they're at. Hi, Ricky. Just wanted to say you're one of only a few who answer questions genuinely on YouTube. As I've noticed when asked, I'm not forthcoming in answering the novice. I sense there's a lot of secrecy. Try this one out, Simon. I don't fucking know. That's a lot of it. There's plenty of bullshitters on there. What you said about yellow corn color is true. Even if you don't get Kanoko, you have a great large body Ginrin yellow koi. Yes, all is great. Multiple. There you go in. Answered your own question. Leave it alone. Hello, Conrad. Will do. Evening all. Evening Ricky. Evening all. Regarding Golden Corn, was not a fan at all. And then you. It did happen. Yes, you're a bigger female with the Kanoko, and very soon your Asagi as well, which is an absolute lump and looking mental. Absolutely mental. Oh, Christ, I've just hit the bottom. Craig, 10K draw. I'm doing it this week. I'm going to schedule that tomorrow, probably on Friday, and it's likely going to be in the daytime because I'll make sure it gets done. I need that off my plate because I've been a shit house with that. So there we go. It'll be worth it. Ladies and gents, I'm done. I'm absolutely starving, and my feet are still freezing from being damp all day. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to escape. In fact, I'm not going to escape right now because there's a lot more people here. I'm just going to share with you again the prize competition we've got going on. Tenner an entry. That is the current prize. Wowzers. Absolutely amazing piece that I've been growing very successfully. It's stuck a hell of a lot on already. And as part of the prize, it's continuing to grow to the end of October. End of March. So I'm saying we're going to be 65 easily, very confidently say that, with even more volume and conditioning. It's going to look sick. Link is in the description if you'd like to get involved. I'm actually planning to do the draw next Wednesday, all being well, on here. There we go. Or on a live just before normally, but we'll get it done. And what a fish. And obviously the Golden Corn genetics, huge size potential in these things and all the quality there to back it up as well. Oh, I've took myself off again. Jesus. No going back now. You said end of October. No backsies. What is the end of October for, Craig? I can't even remember. Yeah. Anyway. There we go. I'm going. I'm starving. I will catch you all, fingers crossed, next week. If not in between. Who knows? Just chaos in it. I have all the best intentions, honestly, all the time. But it's a rather big fish farm I run in amongst a gazillion other things. So don't always get to it. But hopefully you've enjoyed this one. And now I really am going to go catch you all again very soon.